Libra, hi, how are you? This is Lisa. I'm just coming in, having my coffee, and we're going to do the general reading for Libra for February 2022. Hope you guys are doing all right. You'll notice I changed my area. My upstairs is being kind of like totally redone, so I decided I was going to have to move down here eventually anyway. I do like this space though better. And if I do it right in the morning, like right when I first wake up, I don't have to worry about getting all the icky energies of the work day to come home and have to clear all that away first. So this is working. Hopefully you like it. Let's see, let's get right down to it. What do we have for Libra, February 2022? If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for popping in. I hope you enjoy it and come back to see me. Oops. And if you've been here before, I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. Start out in your past with the Seven of Swords, the Six of Pentacles, and the Four of Pentacles. Present energy, you have the Nine of Wands, Ten of Wands, I'm sorry, Ten of Wands, the Chariot right in the middle, and the Eight of Cups. What do we have for Libra for possible outcome? Possible outcome. We have the Judgment, the Six of Cups, and the Ace of Cups. All right, let's see what we can find out from this, and then we'll clarify with another deck. You know, it looks like in your recent past that you might have had some issues around you about, maybe somebody being like a little bit untruthful, or they could have been out and out lying. Either way, and with the Six of Pentacles next to it, I feel like you were trying to help somebody out, you were trying to give something to somebody, and they may have took advantage of you. Because right after that, I feel like there was a reason that you felt like you needed to hold on to what you had as far as finances, money, making your budget a lot tighter, because of there was shiftiness here. Somebody was being really untruthful, and it had to do with money. Maybe you were trying to give them something, like you were trying to help them out in somehow. And this could have been it could have been a corporation, it could have been a charity, but maybe somebody was really shifty in that position. It could have been personal too, where you were lending money to a friend or, a family member, and they didn't pay you back, or they promised to and they, didn't come through with it. Or it could have been, where you were going to give them a certain amount, and somehow they lied and they said that they needed more than they did. And that kind of might have caused you a little bit issue, because you wanted to be generous, you wanted to help them out, but it might have made you have to hold things tighter. Like, okay, you're giving all this to help somebody, but now you can't, do what you needed to do, because you were at the point where you needed to, regroup and grab up, save up the money that you had, that you needed for yourself. And you might have gave them more than you had, actually. So it looks like in the present, though, came along, you were carrying a lot of responsibility. So you were feeling like you had to do a lot of extra at some point after this whole situation. It comes out right underneath this Seven of Swords, dude. So whatever the situation was, it made you have to carry a little more responsibilities, a little more burdens. You had to handle way more that you were expecting to, I feel like, because of that situation. Or did you take on their responsibilities? Because either way, I don't know, again, family, friend, whatever the situation was, if you ended up taking on their responsibilities because you knew that you needed some kind of help, you wanted to be helpful, you feel like you needed to do that because of whatever the relationship was, but you end up carrying the load for it. And this can go in a lot of different ways. There's, just so many different situations where, people get stuck in, like I've had it myself, where you get stuck in a situation and somebody helps you out, and just apparently maybe just whatever happened didn't come back to you as soon as you needed to, or maybe it wasn't even that they didn't tell you the truth, or whatever the situation, like this, maybe the Seven of Swords was the situation. And that's why, like, maybe they kind of got screwed in a situation and they needed help from it. And you wanted to, but now you're like, okay, well, now I have to hold on to what I have because I don't have a lot. Maybe you even did more than you expected to, so you're actually carrying more of the burden than you were planning. Now, right next to that, though, I have this where you feel like you're in a good spot. You're like in authority about whatever. Maybe it's like work or your home life or even in your social. You're feeling like where you are, you can keep a hold of everything. Like you can keep things right on the right track. You're not even worried about. You're not really worried about it, even though you're going to have extra responsibility here. You're not really worried about it because you are on the right path to do it. But you are moving kind of away from a situation. And I wonder if that has anything to do with what was going on up here. Because the Chariot, you could actually be travel too. So are you physically moving away from a situation? Like, all right, so I've given you everything I have. I don't have anything else I can give. So you're like, are you like mentally picking up and moving away with this Eight of Cups energy? You know, you put in a lot of effort, you put in a lot of emotions and feelings and a lot of time and effort, but you can't keep doing it. Whatever this was, it's not serving you anymore, so you gotta like pick up and go away. And with this Chariot, it's either you're feeling really, really strong in it, or you're actually physically moving away. Like, I don't know if you would pick up your roots and just say, okay, well, I'm going to go move in this state, or I'm going to go to this, town, or something like that, like moving away from them. Probably not. It's odd. It's not for everybody, and it's possible, but because it's general, it can only kind of give you that area. But definitely, you're moving away from the situation if that's. Because it's going to be hard. I mean, whatever it is, maybe you don't want to say, I can't do it anymore. You don't want to have to say those things, but you're got to be honest with them and with you. It's not possible all the time. Because in the possible outcome, I have like you having like this insight on what it is that you can possibly keep continuing to do. Like, you're going to get like a eureka moment where you're like, wait a minute, what am I doing that is causing things like this to go on? Like, what can I change? Or you're going to have an insight in a whole other situation, and it's going to make you, maybe change the way you're interacting with some people, or change the way you're dealing with certain situations, because you're looking at it and saying, okay, you're looking more into, you're not judging somebody else, you're judging you. Like, how did I handle this? How should I handle it? How should I have handled this? And what can I do again later? If it's going to come up again, how can I handle it? Like, I wouldn't do the exact same thing. And you have, after that, you have like all this nostalgia coming on, where you're thinking about the past, you're thinking about, people in your past, your family members, possibly people you grew up with, and you're thinking about it, and it's like maybe, you're trying to remember how things went before and how things could go again. And I feel like you got a whole bunch of feelings towards it, like you had a whole bunch of emotions. So whatever this situation was, I feel like it triggered you to think about how you were wanting to handle this kind of situation. Now, this could be really with any, it could be an old friend, it could be a relative, it could be somebody that you were close to, and that maybe you're still close to, but you know that you can't give as much anymore. And I feel like you have kind of like, you came into your head and you're like, okay, what am I doing and what can I change? I don't have it like that, so let's see how I can change it. But I think you were getting the feels for it. It's like, you have memories. You have like when you guys were growing up, or even if you knew them a long time ago, and they came back into your life, and you had that whole feeling of that nostalgia, like, okay, oh, I remember this. I remember how we did this, and you got a lot of feelings about it. So I feel like you want to still keep that relationship. But, you're going to have to do it a little bit different the next time, if it comes up again. So let's see what we can find out. Oops. What do we have for the Seven of Swords? Tell me about the Seven of Swords. Three of Swords, the Five of Wands, and the Seven of Swords. Again, wow, okay. All right, to me that seems like, all right, whatever the situation was, this is funny how Seven of Swords came up again. So this was like a kind of like a catalyst in your relationship maybe with them, because what they needed from you, you were feeling kind of heartbroken about it. It's like, oh, I really want to help you, I don't know what I can. You were battling it yourself. What can I do? I don't know if I can do it. But whatever situation that was, you wanted to help out, you wanted to do what you could do. Now it's possible that maybe again, somebody got, maybe they got screwed in whatever they were into. And it could have been something like dumb, like, they signed a paper for something else, or they signed the wrong spot, or they made a bad deal. I know where people have lost their homes because they made a bad deal with a, shifty bank. That situation, so it feels like that. It wasn't like they were mean and they wanted to, steal from you. It feels more like they got crapped on, and you were feeling like where you had to maybe defend them or help them, because it really did hurt your heart that whatever went on with them. But it still comes to the same the outcome. You don't have enough to support them and you, and so you had to make decisions based on that. Let's see, well, we got the Six of Pentacles. The Eight of Cups, the King of Pentacles, and the Nine of Swords. Yeah, okay. So yeah, you were feeling so stressed out about it, and you couldn't think of a way to get away from it at the time. You wanted to, but again, whatever the relationship was, it was, and you knew what you needed to do, and you had the ability to help them, even though it was going to put you in a difficult situation where, you were going to be stressed out. You were going to have some anxiety, or, where am I going to get the money for myself after I do this? And so you might have been having, some kind of doubts that quickly after it. So what about this Four of Pentacles? Can you tell me about this Four of Pentacles? All right, we got the Three of Pentacles, the Queen of Wands, and the Six of Cups. Yeah, it's funny because the Six of Cups came up again, and it's somebody you've known, somebody you remember from your childhood. It could be somebody in your family, it could be somebody, a relative somewhere along the line. And I feel like you had a good relationship with them. You were always able to get together and, work things out. Maybe whether you played board games when you were kids or, video games more recently. Things were really, really there, between you, and it felt good. So you wanted to make sure that things were still okay. And this Queen of Wands energy to me kind of like, all right, well, I know what we had, and we had fun and we had energy and we were living the life, that kind of thing. So you had that memory of it, but you're like, okay, but I still would like to do that stuff and I have to hold on to what I have now. I can't keep giving because I still want to be able to do it, going forward, even in my own life with, other people, or in that kind of situation where you wanted to hold on to it. It was important to you, but you still had to hold on to things. So what about this Wands? What about the Ten of Wands? What is wrong with me? What do we got the Ten of Wands for present for Libra? What do we have for the Ten of Wands? Page of Wands, the Strength card, and the Ten of Cups. Oops. If you heard that, that was my knee against the table. I didn't make a toot. But anyway, when you took on these extra responsibilities, whatever they might have been, you realized you were going to need so much willpower and so much strength to hold in what you have. and not be like, okay, well, I can use my credit card, or I can do, like, you needed to be really strong about that. You have ideas that you can, like, go forward, and make things happen for yourself again. Because if you were, like, really doing good here, that somebody felt that they could even ask you for what they needed, that you're going to be able to recapture that, you're going to be able to have that again. And I feel like you taking on these extra responsibilities makes you feel happy. Like, even though it stressed you out and you wouldn't have chose to do it, but since you did, you're feeling good about it. Like, so now you're like, okay, I was able to help them. It's going to be a little hard for me for a little bit, but not forever, and I'm going to be okay, because you got this Ten of Cups feeling where you actually are able to, kind of like look yourself in the mirror and say, I did it, and I'm okay. It's not horrible. It's just kind of was a little sticky for a little while. What about this Chariot? What do you think about this Chariot? Temperance, the Two of Cups, and the Judgment. Again, wow. Okay. All right, so with, with time and patience and, making certain decisions, finding things that work well together. I don't know whether it is you have to, like, they say rob Peter to pay Paul, or, make some kind of arrangements. Maybe you could even make some arrangements for them. And I feel like you actually have that capability in you, and finding what they would need to make things get better for them also. And you have that, like, enlightenment again, like, wait, I can do this. And even though they might be really close to you, like, this might be somebody you have, like, a really tight bond with, you may be able to fix things for them a little bit, so they're not in that situation again either. So even after you fix it for them, you may have to we're still kind of, like, working with them to make sure it didn't happen again. And this is a very specific, it would be for everybody, but, because it does seem like very specific to some people out there. The Eight of Cups, we got the Ten of Wands again, the Knight of Wands, and the Five of Swords. Well, alright, so when you do move away from the situation, that's what's going to even burden you even more. The Ten of Wands came out reversed, and I usually turn all my cards right side up because I don't generally read reverses. But it came out in the reverse, and that's even, like, more pressure. So whatever it is that you're going to be moving away from, I feel like at his point, you were like, how can I help them? I can make it so, you help them up here, but I can help them again. I can make sure that this doesn't happen to them again. So, whether you're, like, giving them financial information, or you're helping them out to, make sure they are aware of their situation before they do something. So maybe you're not even comfortable with, like, getting up in their business, but you would have to make sure that doesn't happen again. And so that even puts more pressure on you than you had, because, again, you're not comfortable doing it, but you may have to do it just to make sure that they're going to be okay. And I feel like you are considering it, and you're, like, thinking about different consequences of you taking that route and saying, okay, well, I don't know if they're going to get mad at me. I don't know if they're going to tell me to mind my own damn business. But you're going to do it anyway, because you're like, no, I'm going to fix this, because I don't need you falling into the same trap or falling into the same hole that you did, and I'm not going to be able to help you next time. So when you moved away from the situation, it was hard, but you're like, but I'm going to keep my nose up in it, because I don't need I don't need this to happen to you again. So you're like, no, I'm doing it no matter what. So let's see, what about Judgment? What about Judgment for a possible outcome? Judgment for a possible outcome. Got the Ace of Swords, the Six of Swords, and the Nine of Wands. All right, well, you had, like, an idea of what is possible. It's very possible that Ace of Swords can go both ways. Either you had, like, an idea that was up there, and you're like, I could do this, I could handle this, but it can also depict a double-edged sword. So when you do this, when you decide that you're going to do this whatever, you're going to get up in their business, you're going to make sure that nothing happens like that again, or you think you are, it's possible that it's going to come back and stab you, because maybe they don't really want your help. Even though they wanted your help before, they don't want it now. That could happen. And, so whatever the situation was, there's a moving away again. So either you're really, you moved away, you were pushing away from it. Yes, I still care, but I got to get out of this. I can't be busy with this. I can't be involved. And you're feeling like this feeling of, I've been through this, I'll be through it again, and it's going to if it happens again. And the Nine of Wands is usually like that wounded warrior. Usually on the original cards, he has like the bandage on his head, and he's standing there. He's going to be he's fighting, because you're prepared to defend it again, or to do it again, because you have all this like resources and knowledge and experience from the situation before. So you are prepared to do it again, but you are still trying to move away from it. Like, you don't want to get involved again, but you actually would if you had to. Because, well, whoever, you love them, whoever they are, your family, your friend, there's love there. And you want to make sure they're okay. And you feel really, really bad that you have to do it, but you're prepared to do it again if that comes about. Like right after the Five of Swords, you got the Six of Swords. So yeah, it's like almost like a natural progression. You are moving away from the situation, trying to do, but you are still prepared to handle it for them again, because you wouldn't let that happen to them, So however they took your advice, however they took, what it was that you were offering, you are still willing to back them up again regardless. Seven of Wands, Four of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. All right, well, there's going to be some defense going on. You're feeling like, because they were somebody you knew, that was right on top of the Six of Cups, because they were somebody you knew, somebody you had feelings for, platonic, romantic, whatever the situation was, you wanted to help them. But you're going to be so disappointed if it does come down to that. But on the other hand, you're feeling like, I can do this. Whatever the situation is, I can do it. I've done it. I can do it. And you're like grabbing a hold of this, and you're like, yeah, I can do it, because I am who I am. And, it's the right thing to do. So what about this Ace of Cups? Can you tell me about the Ace of Cups? What is wrong with my hands? I just recently had a surgery that I was hoping would fix this. It doesn't. Anyway, the Ace of Cups for Libra for February. The Four of Swords, Death, and the Page of Cups. That's kind of cool. All right, so that makes sense, because after all this going on, the Five and the Six, you go back to the Four. You're taking a mental break. You're like, all right, I'm done right now. You need to have some space. You need to have some time to, to think your thoughts, because I don't know what went on. Maybe when you said to them, I'm going to help you, or I want you to do it this way, this way, and this way, they might have, started feeling a certain kind of way about that. So there might have been a point where you're like, okay, I need to sit back. I have to take a chill. And you did, or you will, and there's going to be a change. So either you're going to change that, where you're not going to keep being responsible for them, and you're just going to be like, I want us to be back the way we were. I want the friendship to be there. Or the love of the family, or the friendship, the companionship. I feel like that you want that, and you have to have a change. Either they have to change in how they handle things, or you have to change and say, I can't really be there for you. I wish I could, but if you're not even going to take my advice, I can't. I just can't do it anymore. So I feel like that's going to be like, however it might end up for you. But I hope it works out. So if you enjoyed the reading, give me a thumbs up, share it, subscribe, write me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And hopefully you enjoyed it and it works out. And I will be seeing you, if I don't pop in the middle of the month, because, I may do that, I will be seeing you definitely for March, okay? Take care, guys.